Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. So happy first week of spring. I distinctly remember last year around this time, I had the first time I ever brought a whole ton of art, bismuth art. I now work with zinc as well. To an art show. We had an art show over first of spring last year, and come a long way since then. Obviously, I now work with zinc. I now work with anodization of titanium and tantalum. This is tantalum, which I probably won't be selling a lot of because it's a little bit out of reach of most of my audience, which is why I switched from bismuth to zinc. It's a lot less pricey, and I could do a lot more business at the art shows and online. And I want to talk about a benefit that I noticed that I hadn't really thought about, but I noticed recently, which is that by having a second career, it reduces a lot of anxiety in my first career. So I teach at a community college. I was having a meeting with my boss, and it was rather pleasant, but you know what? Talking to your boss, there's always potential for good or bad things to be said, right? And either one can be tricky, right? I used to have a tendency of interrupting my boss too much because I was tensed up. I'd hear something and it goes in the wrong direction, and I want to course correct what my boss tries to say, right? For example, maybe I'm talking to my boss trying to figure out something in our grading system that's difficult to use, and he goes off in a tangent that doesn't really address my concern. Or I hear great news and I want to stop it right there and cash in on that great news, but my boss is wanting to say even more good news, and I cut him off prematurely, right? Either one of those could be a bad time to interrupt, right? But now that I have a second career, it's not really enough to pay my bills or anything, but it is enough to provide quite a big bit of cushion. I find it a lot easier to let my boss finish his sentences, let him finish his thoughts. I find it a lot easier to wait 5 seconds to see if he'll bring out even more good news when he's on a good streak, which is what happened yesterday. And just a lot less anxiety and uncertainty going on in my life as a result, right? It has its trade-offs, though, obviously. It's starting to become, as you can see, very back-breaking work, and running to the post office to mail stuff, to pick up packages, has taken its set of beatings as well, but you know what? It's worth it, because it's alleviated a lot of social discomfort and snafus at the office, right? I really find it, not only am I not interrupting my boss, but I'm getting into the habit of not interrupting. And so when I talk to other people in my life, my parents, my girlfriend, or any other significant figure in my life, I find I'm not interrupting nearly as much because I'm getting into the habit of not having uncertainty, right? And even when I'm talking to my girlfriend, there's a lot less uncertainty because if things don't go right with her, I have something else to do with my life. This is the Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum.